Hey everyone, and welcome to Chef AJ and Friends. I'm your host, Chef AJ, and my guest today is Terri Chrisman. She's written a fabulous new book that, in fact, is called Fabulous Health, A Simple Plan to Get Well and Stay Well. And she's going to be making her easy Asian noodle bowl recipe from the book. I just met her last week in person at a meetup. If you're anywhere in Northern California, come meet me in person. We have these every month. Please welcome Terri to the show. Congratulations on the beautiful new book.
Thank you so much, Chef AJ. And before we begin, I just have to say how grateful I am to you for being so generous to me. For people who don't know, well, nobody knows actually, I reached out to AJ as a nobody and asked her if she would look at my book and give me a testimonial. And she was the most gracious person on the planet. And I guess I wasn't surprised, right? Because you are such a beautiful person. I've been watching you for years and it's just been awesome. And thank you so much for having me.
Well,
I'm
tell
gushing, right?
No, thank you. Tell my husband that, okay? Because he doesn't see me that way. That is so funny. Well, it was so nice meeting you in person because you don't often get to meet people that write books in person. You get book requests. So that was pretty cool that you came to town, and I really enjoyed meeting you and get to see the face behind the book. But I'm not sure everybody knows who you are. But first of all, you said you're a nobody. I used to know a guy. There was a show on a long time ago. We're talking the 80s. It was a spin-off from the show Dukes of Hazzard, and it was called Enos, Enos. The actor, he was a wonderful person. Sonny Schroyer played Chef Enos Turk. And I remember he was like a big star to me. I'm 25 and he's a regular on a show. And I said, well, you don't want to do a scene with me. I'm a nobody. And he said, everybody's a somebody to somebody. So there's no such thing as a nobody.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate that. And I really don't think I'm a nobody, but to you, you didn't know me. So
Yeah.
I just
Well,
really appreciate that.
yeah, absolutely. But I just want to clarify that. So that's so cool. Well, but you may not be a nobody, but you may not be known to everyone yet, which is why we're having you on the show. So I think even before you jump into the recipe, and I think it's a pretty quick and easy recipe, right?
It's like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
This will be
okay.
a very, very, very quick session if we just do the recipe.
So we don't have to start it right this second. Well, who is Terri Chrisman? And people especially would love to know your plant-based story, your plant-based journey, if you have one. So do tell.
Well, AJ, I'm Australian, as people can probably hear. I moved to America in 2019. I became vegetarian when I was 18 years old. And before that, I struggled with my weight. My dad's family were quite obese. And I was actually put on a diet when I was 4 years old. This is in the 70s. And I think if any kid had more than a couple of extra chunky pounds, there was alarm bells ringing back then. And it was always a struggle for me to maintain a healthy weight. And I managed to do so because my mum cooked really, really healthy food and it wasn't plant-based at the time, but and I did a lot of exercise. And then when I was 25, my dad suddenly and unexpectedly died of a massive heart attack. He had a widowmaker heart attack, and it came out of the blue, and nobody actually knew that he had heart disease. So I was really concerned then about, well, now I have to really look after my health. And so I really got into exercise in a big way. And I became a personal trainer and I ran marathons and I did all the things. And eventually I started working in Hong Kong and I ran a gym in a school. And at International Baccalaureate School in Hong Kong. And the kids that I looked after were between the ages of 16 and 18, doing their last 2 weeks, or last 2 weeks, hello, last 2 years of school. And they kept asking me about nutrition. And you can't give children nutrition information unless you are qualified. So I went to school again and got my master's in nutrition in 2018. And that's when I really started reading the plant-based literature. I had a girlfriend who had been vegan for a really, really long time, and she used to send me horrific videos, which I did not want to look at. And I would say to her, stop sending me those videos. I'm not hurting the cows. I don't eat the meat. I'm not hurting the piggies. I don't eat the meat. And she said, yeah, but you're eating the dairy and the eggs. So without the videos, I found the truth and I read the studies and I realized then that plant-based was the way to go. And I'm going to credit you, Chef AJ, for turning me from a plant-based eater to a whole food plant-based eater, because back in 2020, I put on a few pounds, as a lot of people did. And even though I was vegan, probably wasn't eating the healthiest vegan food. I mean, it was healthy-ish. I was a nutritionist, so I knew what I was doing. But there were a few cupcakes and Oreos going in there. And watching you, I was like, you know what, this has got to stop. I've got to really go whole food plant-based. And that's where my whole food plant-based journey started. And I started writing the book before then, but it really came to fruition once I started realizing that once you take all the junk out, everything starts to work.
That's amazing. Well, I'm so happy to hear that. Were you able to influence any friends or family members when you changed your diet?
Well, my husband, he has a problem with his joints. And anytime he was eating any kind of animal protein or alcohol, that would flare up. And it took a long, long time for him to realized that that was the problem. And even though I kept saying to him, just don't do it. And we didn't have any animal protein in the house, but if he went out to dinner, he went out to say a business meeting and everybody went to a steakhouse. He wouldn't want to rock the boat, right? So he'd just order a steak and then he'd come home and he wouldn't be able to walk for a week because his knees were hurting him. And I said to him, what you eat is none of anybody else's business. If you go to a business dinner and it's a steak restaurant, just order a baked potato and some veggies. Nobody will care. So he, over time, has stopped animal products completely.
That's fantastic. Well, if
Mm.
do you make most of the food for the meals for the family?
Yeah, I do. And I love him to death, but I'm a better cook. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was saying is a lot of times, you just cook the food and if they want to add something to it, they do, and eventually they get tired of it. Adding
That's right.
yeah, that's what I hear works for a lot of people. So what made you decide to write the book and how long did it take and what was that process like for you?
Well, I was seeing clients individually, and I'll be 100% honest here, Chef AJ. I shouldn't call you Chef AJ. I should just call you AJ, right?
Either is
Just
fine.
rolls off the tongue, right? I was seeing clients individually, and some clients were getting absolutely fantastic results. They were following the process, they were doing all the things, and everybody was happy, and it was rainbows and sunshine. And then there were some clients that couldn't make the transition, couldn't make the change, and they were struggling. And I've actually seen somebody about this, but I think I was manifesting the pain in my heart about losing my dad and him not having the opportunity to change into these people. So I wanted to save them, so to speak, because I couldn't save my dad. And if they weren't doing the things, I got really, really upset, like emotionally disturbed, and it really affected me. And I thought, I can't do this anymore. I can't work with one-on-one people and see them suffer. It was just too hard for me. I guess I'm more empathetic than I thought I was. And I thought, well, the other thing is I can only see one person at a time. So if I write down all the things that I know into a book, I can help many more people at the same time. The other thing is that if people get the book and they don't read it, it's none of my business. Or if they read the book and they don't implement it, I don't feel personally responsible for them not implementing it. That's probably a cop out. But I did want to reach more people. And the other thing is, I'm starting a speaking career. So with the book, it's going to be helping me jumpstart my speaking career. And I just wanted to help as many people as possible. I just thought that one-on-ones just wasn't for me anymore. So that's why I wanted to put it all in paper.
How long did you do the health coaching? I took the 1 year program with Food Revolution, and what I learned is I didn't want to be a health coach. I agree. One-on-one it's really hard.
Yeah, yeah, it's very emotional. I did the health coaching for about 3 years, and that was enough for me. Yeah.
Yeah. Where did you get your training?
I did my undergrad at the University of the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, Australia, and that was a Bachelor of Sport and Exercise Science. So we also did anatomy and stuff like that, and physiology in that course. And then I did my master's at Deakin University in Melbourne. But I wasn't in Melbourne when I did it. I did it online when I was living in Hong Kong.
Oh, so it was like a health coach certification kind of thing?
No, it's a full master's.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it took me 2 years.
Nice. Where do you want to speak? Like at
Oh,
conferences and things like that?
oh, I'd love to speak at your conference next year, AJ. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, well, it's not my, okay, just everybody has to know it's not, I wish everybody's like writing me. It's not my conference. I'm just hosting it. Not just, that's a big job, but it's Andy's conference. So maybe come to the conference and talk to the producer and
Yeah, that's right.
yeah.
And I think for me, I think because my book and my whole philosophy is about helping people transition from the unhealthy lifestyle to the healthy lifestyle. It's like a step-by-step guide of how to get from A to B or A to Z, whatever. I think corporations would be the best thing for me to start with because when you improve the health of your staff, you improve the productivity of your staff and you lessen the healthcare costs and all that, and you make for a happier workplace. So I think I'd really like to talk to corporations. So if there are any corporations out there listening who have wellness programs and you want somebody to speak, I'm there for you. Thank you for the plug,
Well,
AJ.
I when I lived in LA, which has been over 7 years now, I did a lot of corporate work, and not only does it pay well, but like you say, it's more like one-to-many coaching. And we have
Mm.
to do these things for like corporations, like they were called lunch and learns, and so get talk to HR people, and maybe even get an agent to help you. A speaking agent can sometimes get you these jobs.
Yes, it's a slog, but I'm doing it all. Yeah. I have a publicist at the moment. We're working on the book, and the speaking is the next step.
Nice. Well, good. Well, hopefully this will springboard you to fame, and hopefully you'll remember me when you're.
I will absolutely remember you.
Yeah. Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. So you live in two different places, don't you?
I do. We have a summer and winter house at Lake Tahoe because the weather is so beautiful and because we love to ski. And we have a fall and spring house in Dallas, Texas, because my husband's mother lives in Dallas, Texas, and she's 91. And we like to be close to her. And also his job's there as well. So it kind of helps.
Well, there's some plant-based action in Dallas. Like, do you know any of the people like
Yeah.
Pat?
Diane Doyle
I was
and
going to
Pat,
say
absolutely.
Pat and
Yeah, they're good
Diane, and
friends of mine. And we go to potlucks together. And Diane Doyle from Plant Based Dallas, I want to give her a huge big plug because she received copies of the draft book like you did and delivered them to her book club. And members of her book club were absolutely instrumental in making this a better book. They read the book cover to cover and gave me constructive criticism on every single chapter. And it took an okay book into an excellent book. So I'm eternally grateful for Diane and her book club for doing that for me. I think it's really important too to get a second or third or fourth opinion on your writing because what you think may be Shakespeare could actually be a load of gobbledygook. So I was very happy to hear their constructive criticism. It was really funny though, AJ, because I put it all on a spreadsheet and they could download and put down their thoughts and whatnot. And the first comments were like really harsh. And I was like, who are these people? And then I sort of thought about it and I was like, actually, what they're saying is really good. It may have hurt my ego for 5 seconds, but incorporating those changes just made the book so much better.
well, in Harsh, like for example, what did they say?
Oh, I can't remember exactly, but one of the ladies, when I got the book back, she gave it to me, and it like had whole big, like the whole page was crossed out. Don't say this, and
Oh, that's funny. That's funny.
which I thought was funny.
Well, I'm glad I didn't do that with any of my books because I'm very sensitive. Do you ever participate in any of the jar parties that they have?
Yes,
Maybe talk
it,
about that because
absolutely.
that is such a great tip for people that it's not only community building, but it's a way to get your batch cooking done easier. Talk about those because those I think those are fabulous. I would love to do that up here.
Yeah, they're awesome. So what Diane puts out a message on Facebook to all her, I think she's got thousands of people in her group in Plant Based Dallas. And she says, we're having a jar swap. It's on this date at this time. Tell me what you want to bring. And so each of the people has to bring a mason jar and it will be this size. Oh, look at that. How handy. This size filled to the brim squashed in one vegetable that is cut up. And it could be a vegetable or a legume or a grain, whole grain that's been cooked already. And not the vegetables. The vegetables are all raw, but the whole grains and the legumes are cooked. And everybody brings one. So if I say I'm going to bring organic broccoli, I'll bring 12 jars of organic broccoli. And then you, AJ, you might bring quinoa, cooked quinoa. And then somebody else might bring carrots or whatever. And so we all lob up to Diane's house at whatever time. And we all put one of our jars on a spot, one of 12 spots. So then instead of having 12 jars of broccoli, now I have 12 jars of different vegetables or whole grains or legumes, and they're all different. So there's no duplicates. And then we go home and then we've got our prep done for the whole week. And I think that is the best way to prep. I did a video the other day, how to do meal prep, and it was don't do meal prep. Like just cut up your veggies in advance. Don't make meals, because if you make meals for the week and you have to have, chickpea curry every day for 5 days in a row, you're going to get really bored with it. And it's, maybe you won't, and then you go off and get takeaway. But if you have all your veggies cut up in the fridge, if you want stir fry Thai, you just bring out the stir fry Thai type veggies and it's done. And if you want the chili, you just bring out the chili type ingredients and it's done. You just throw them in a pot and it's cooked in 10 minutes. And that's the kind of cooking that I like. I've been doing quite a lot of talking to people who are finding it difficult to transition from a Western diet pattern to a whole food plant-based diet pattern. And some of them, particularly the younger people, are saying things like, I don't know any recipes, I don't know what to cook, it's too hard, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I know it takes time to learn those things, but if you can just throw some things in a pot, it's much easier, right?
I was curious. So, in your experience with health coaching, is that the biggest reason that the biggest obstacle is that it takes too long? Because I often hear that, well, what I hear from some people is that it just doesn't taste good. And that's a whole nother conversation about neuroadaptation and food addiction. But you wonder what people are eating, because if they're not going to the drive-through, if they're cooking something, it's not any harder to cook plant-based food as non-plant-based food. There's this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I
Absolutely.
think it takes less time to, I mean, I don't even know because I've never cooked meat, so I don't know how long
Mm.
it takes to cook a chicken or a steak. But I mean, to cook something in the Instant Pot takes like 10 minutes. I can have a whole dinner ready.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's a misconception that it is difficult and that it takes a whole new skill set. But you're right, it doesn't take a whole new skill set. And that's the education I'm trying to give people in this book, is that it doesn't take a whole new skill set. If you can have a modicum of idea about what herbs and spices might go with what cuisine, like Italian herbs and spices, your basil and your oregano and your rosemary, whatever, go with Italian food, and your cumin and your curry and your chili goes with Indian food. And you can just throw some things in a bowl, then you're cooking. And that's all that people need to worry about. But the biggest struggle I hear from people is that they are addicted to salt. And so you're right. If they might think that the plant-based stuff is a little bit bland, and that's where the herbs and the spices come into it to make it as tasty as possible.
That's cute the way you pronounced oregano.
What did they say? Oregano.
Yeah, that's so cute. There's some great recipes in the book, and what I always say is get people in with dessert, because that's some of the easiest ways. You got a tofu chocolate mousse, date Snickers, chia banana pudding. So those sound really delicious. Oh, oat cookies. That's what you brought to the potluck last week, right?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to say something about those oat cookies. I cooked them and didn't taste them. And then it was really funny. I was sitting at a table and there was a lady and she had some on her plate and she took it and she went, oh, these aren't that great. And I thought, oh no. So then I went and ate one and I don't know what I did, but I must have overbaked them. So they were a little bit dry. So apologies to anybody who was at your potluck who thought my cookies sucked. They normally don't suck like that. I must have overcooked them. So sorry.
Oh, that's so funny. And wow, she actually said that.
Well,
Oh
she
my.
didn't know they were mine, right? So it was fine.
Oh, that's funny. I'll be putting a link well, the show notes are already done. It already has the recipes, but I'll also be putting a link on where people can click and get the book straight away. How did you get a publisher and how long did it take you to write the book?
Well, the publisher is yours truly.
Oh,
I did not want to go through the arduous pain and suffering of being rejected. You can tell I don't like being rejected, right?
no, I don't blame you either.
So I thought, I want this in the hands of people, not in 3 years, not whenever. And I want to do it right now. So I did it myself. So there was no pain and suffering of getting it published, except for the usual stuff of formatting and, covers and things like that. And I sell it on Amazon, and you can buy it in any bookstore, but they will have to order it for you because it's not kept on shelf. It's a print on demand book. And the other thing is that if anybody's in America and they would like a signed copy of either the hardcover, this one, or the soft cover, the paperback, they just have to go to fabuloushealthbook.net, and I have copies on hand and I can sign them for them and send them out to them. So, but not for anybody that's not in the States, apologies, because the postage is just too much.
Yeah, thank you. Is it available on Kindle?
Yes, it's available on Kindle. I'm working on the audiobook as we speak. Apparently, the microphone that I own is the wrong type. So I've ordered a new one that should be here next week. And I can imagine that the audiobook will be definitely ready by the end of the month.
That's wonderful. So, what recipe are you going to make from the book?
Today, I'm going to make a recipe called the Asian noodle bowl, or what did I call it here? Yeah, Asian noodle soup bowl. It's on page 175. It's strangely not in the recipes chapter. I did a chapter on being plant-based on a budget, and how to make quick and easy meals, and I just kind of threw it in there. So if you're looking for it, it's not in the recipes section, but that's okay. You'll find it. And it's really, really simple. So I'll put the camera down and you can see my pot. So I forgot to say, I'll come back here. The first thing to do when you're making this is go over here and put the kettle on. I learned that from Jamie Oliver. He said, whenever you're trying to make a really, really quick meal and you need water, just put the kettle on, have boiling water to start, because it just makes everything so much quicker. So thanks to him for that. So here's my pot. This is a 4-cup Pyrex, and it's probably got about 3 cups of veggies in it. And these are pre-frozen. I'll show you the ones I use. I like to show people brands, AJ, because people say, oh, which ones do I use? Well, you can use whatever brands you like, but check these out. These are from Costco, and I know not everybody goes to Costco, but these veggies are really, really delicious. They're so simple because you don't have to cut them up. One of my main peeves with cooking is that you spend so much time cutting stuff up. Sorry about that noise as I close that fridge. And if people can do things that are simple by just throwing stuff in a pot from a bag, then that's all fine. So throw those guys in a pot. Then I've got a little bit of edamame. This is pre-cooked frozen edamame. You get it with the green peas in the supermarket, so that's fine. That's optional, obviously. Well, not obviously. Why am I saying obviously? It's not obviously. You
I
can
love
have it
I
or
love
not.
I love Costco. I have to live somewhere near Costco and a Trader Joe's.
Yes, I love Trader Joe's. Oh, speaking of which, I've got the Trader Joe's cheetah garlic because I don't like chopping up garlic. Put as much or as little garlic in there as you like. I like things spicy, so I've got a little bit of spicy chili as well. And then all you're going to do is use these new. Now, I like these noodles. These noodles also come from Trader Joe's. And the reason I like them is because they're only 2 ingredients, which is brown rice and millet. So there's no, they're not fried. They're just air dried or something. I'm not sure, dehydrated. And you just need one little, what do you call these? Patties? What do you call
I
one of
love
these things?
bricks, blocks. I
Brick.
love I love those noodles.
Yeah. So you just that in there, and then wacko the duck, as my dad used to say. The water is boiled. I get a tablespoon of veggie stock. Have you heard of Well Your World?
Sure, absolutely.
Oh, I love their stuff so much. It's SOS free. It's so tasty. It brings so much flavor. And I've just used the wrong one. They also have this one. I can't believe I picked up the wrong one. What's wrong with me? They have this new one. Look at me. I'm a salesperson for Well Your World. They're so yummy. So this noodle broth, this Asian broth is the tastiest one. I don't know why I picked up the wrong one. And then you just throw some water on top like this, probably about 4 cups. That's about it. And then throw that over here on the hob and just let it do its thing. I might put a lid on just to make it quicker. And it takes like 5 minutes. So I just don't know how you can make it a quicker dinner than that.
That's amazing.
I know, it's so quick. It's one of my favorite lunches because when you're working during the day and trying to get things done, I'm redoing my website at the moment and it's a never ending headache and takes 17 times longer than you want it to take. And to stop for lunch sometimes is an inconvenience. And so I want to make sure that I'm getting healthy food that doesn't take me an hour to cook. So I make this noodle bowl probably 2 or 3 times a week. And then the other times a week we have tacos because we love tacos so much.
What kind of tacos do you make?
I make Javon's, you interviewed Javont last month. I make his veggie ground, which it looks kind of like minced beef, but it's made out of mushrooms and vegetables and herbs and spices and tomato paste. And I keep it in the freezer in little Ziploc bags, and then I just thaw it out. And when it's lunchtime, I have enough for, maybe a couple of days of tacos. So I use that and coleslaw. Maybe I'll put some salad on and some salsa, pico de gallo. So I love tacos. I use Trader Joe's corn tortillas and I throw them in the air fryer for 3.5 minutes and they turn into tostadas. So it's like an open tostada. And that way I can get 3 times as much filling on it. Because when you do a taco, you've only got like this much stuff inside. It's all tortilla and not much stuff. So I like lots of contents. So I always do tostadas and then they're like this high.
I love Mexican food. What does a typical day of eating look like for you?
Well, I start off with veggies for breakfast. Thank you for that. And I always do a whole bowl like this big of those mixed veggies. And I put them on a plate of greens. And then I'll put some tofu on top and some California balsamic vinegar in various flavors. I know you're a big fan of theirs, so am I. They're just awesome. And if I don't use California balsamic, I will have made like my cheesy sauce, which is in the recipe book, in the recipe chapter. I make a cheesy sauce out of veggies and just put that on top. And I have veggies for breakfast, probably about 3 or 4 days a week. If not, it'll be oatmeal and berries. And if if I forget breakfast and I go straight down to the gym and do exercise, I put my oatmeal and berries in the blender with some plant-based protein powder for extra protein while I'm after my workout.
So you turn your oatmeal into a smoothie, in other words, kind of?
Yeah, yeah,
Ah, that's clever. Very clever.
yeah.
What kind of exercise do you do?
I do always warm up on the bike, and then I do functional strength training mostly. I love, I know I don't want to keep sprouting out brands and whatnot, but I love Beachbody On Demand. It's a fantastic thing. I've been a member for probably 10 years or something, or since I got here, 2019. That's not 10 years. And it's great because it's like Netflix for exercise. So they have, 50 different trainers doing 200 different programs, and you just choose the one that works for you. And one of my favorite trainers is a guy called Amwala Caesar, and he's all into functional movement and strength. And I just love his stuff.
So are these videos that you're doing?
Yeah. Yeah, they're
Wow.
videos. Yeah, they're full programs. So you choose, one program could be like 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 2 weeks, or you could do individual workouts or whatever you want to do. It's great. It's just, as I say, it's like Netflix for working out.
That's very, very cool.
Yeah, I'm surprised you haven't heard of it.
Well, I mean, I've heard of Beachbody. I just didn't know what it was. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's so good. And I haven't been exercising for 2 weeks because I overdid it. I had a knee reconstruction last year after a skiing accident, and the reconstruction went absolutely perfectly. The rehab went absolutely perfectly. And then, of course, I started increasing my load. and probably increased it a little bit too much. So have to chill a little bit because exercise is in my heart. And, as I say, I was a personal trainer. I taught exercise. I ran a gym, and not exercising makes me a little bit stir crazy. So when I get injured, it's annoying. So now I have to just realize that I have shall I say, permanent injury. It's an injury that's not going to remove itself completely from my life. So I need to work out ways that I can still get the stimulus without going overboard and causing yet another injury. So that's a psychological, mental thing that I have to kind of work out.
Nice, nice. Let me see. Are there any other plant-based books that you've written that have inspired you on your journey? Not that you've written, excuse me, that you've read. Yeah, the other ones that you've written after.
Yes. Can I just go and have a look at the thingy very quickly?
Yeah.
Hang
Oh,
on.
yeah, please.
Okay. No, it's still, oh, it's getting there. Okay, that's fine. Look, all of them, the China study. I love Fiber Fueled by Dr. Will Bulsiewicz. Living PCOS Free by Nita Bujekel. Oh my goodness. How Not to Die, of course. What else? I love them all. I bought them all, right? Dr. Dean Ornish's Undo It. I thrive on scientific proof. I love it. I love reading studies and finding people who are doing awesome things. One of my great regrets in life, well, it shouldn't be a regret, of course, is that I didn't go to medical school when I was 18. When I was 18, I was more interested in boys and partying on, and there was no way I would have ever gone to medical school. But as I've grown older, I just think I could have helped a lot more people had I been an actual medical doctor. But you know what? I'm doing my best as I am. Can I just talk quickly about tofu? Is that okay?
Yeah, of course you can. And I just want to give a shout out to those noodles that you're using because they're my favorite and they're gluten-free and they cook so quickly.
Yeah, they do. So I'm going to put tofu on top of this bowl, but I want to show people two types of tofu. This one is your Trader Joe's organic tofu, and it's got 10 grams of sodium for 70 calories. So 10 grams of sodium per serve. So this is a really low sodium product. And then there's this one, which is pre-seasoned, and it's got 390 grams of sodium per serving for 180 calories, which means that this has added ingredients in it and it has a lot of salt. Now, if somebody's transitioning from a standard Western diet to a whole food plant-based diet and they go and buy this, they may think it's bland and horrible and be turned off tofu completely, right? But if they buy this, they may think that's delicious. I love it. And I'm a tofu person. Well, that's great. But I think things like this are great as transition foods so that you can get the feeling for eating some plant-based protein products. And then as you get more comfortable and confident in your ability to cook, then you can start going to the plain tofu. And I'm going to put the plain tofu on the bowl because I promote a salt-free lifestyle. And also you could put it in the air fryer and you could season it yourself and then air fry it and then put it in the bowl. But that requires pre-cooking and a bit more knowledge. But I just wanted to make this as simple as possible for everybody. So I'm just going to use the plain tofu here, and I'll just check these noodles. I'm not sure. So they're ready now. So let me get a bowl and I'll bring them over to you, AJ, and you can see how delicious they are. I'll just turn that off.
Well,
So,
I think it's almost like cheater's pho or pho because that pho is like my favorite thing.
oh, okay. Uh, you know what? I'll tell you, I've never had a faux, whatever.
Yeah, it's spelled PHO, so you'd think it's,
Yeah.
I guess they pronounce it pho, but that's like my favorite thing. And a lot of the vegan restaurants have it up here and they make it vegan and they make it oil free, but I've never had it completely SOS free, but they will make it low sodium for us.
Oh, that's good. So
Yeah.
there it is. And then I just put some little tofu dudes on top. And then I can put I got some spring onions that I grew in my hydroponic tower. And usually I would put cilantro, but of course I don't have any. I don't know why I don't. And then this says tahine, but it's not tahine. It's the Well Your World chili lime seasoning because tahine has too much salt in it. And look at that. It's like 2 minutes. Well, not 2 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. How delicious is that?
It looks like it's a beautiful bowl, by the way, the plate it's on, and it looks just like delicious restaurant food.
Yeah, it does. And it's better for you than restaurant food because it's got no salt and no MSG and no oil and no animal products in it. So it's so easy to make. And that recipe was like would do two. So and my husband loves it too, which is great. And every time I have people over for lunch, I just make them that because when you have people over for lunch, the last thing you want to be doing is cooking them lunch. You want to have fun with them and talk to them and enjoy their company and all that kind of stuff. And if you can just throw something in a pot like that and continue to have a conversation like we were, then it's easy peasy. And in fact, that's going to be my breakfast. I haven't had breakfast yet, so I'm going to have that for breakfast today.
Nothing wrong with that. I mean,
No.
in Japan, we had miso soup for breakfast every day with vegetables in it and salad even. And this was like over 30 years ago.
Yeah. Now, thinking of miso, sometimes I will put, my husband likes it with miso, and miso is quite salty. But I've found that with this broth, the Asian one, you don't need the miso at all. I think it's got celery in it, and that's what makes it have that salty flavor, even though it doesn't have salt in it. Yeah, it's got celery in it and orange peel, which gives it a bit of a zing. So I really like that. And then you can do without the miso as well. And I know that you sometimes say to people, look, if you want to put salt on top, put salt on top, and I won't be offended, right? So
Yes.
it's fine.
Well,
It's fine.
that would be the way I'd recommend. And in that case, probably not salt. I'd probably give them a little bit of soy sauce or tamari or a low sodium coconut aminos or something.
Yeah, beautiful. Yeah, delicious. Absolutely. And I think that's the same with all new foods, just particularly if you're transitioning, is to make them without and then add on top. And of course, the taste buds are on your tongue, they're not inside the pot. So if you put your salty thing in the pot, it gets dissipated throughout the whole dish and you don't taste it as much. Whereas if you sprinkle it on top, as soon as your tongue touches the salty thing, it's going to register the salt and you'll get that satisfying kind of salty flavor in your mouth. And you use a lot less of that sodium rich food.
That's one of the best lines I've ever heard. The taste buds are on your tongue, they're not in the pot. That's great. You have a great sense of humor. Else would like to know if you were using the miso, when would you put it in? Once it's cooked?
um, No, miso kind of needs to dissolve a little bit. So, yeah, I would probably take, say, a little container like this, put a little bit of miso in, and then spoon some of the liquid in and mix it around to kind of make it into a more liquidy, saucy thing, and then pour it in at the end. Yeah, that would be good too. But you're right. If I put it in the beginning, you'd need more miso.
Absolutely. So
Mm.
I know that where you live in Dallas, there's a whole vegan community, but what about where you live it's in Nevada, technically, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's great actually. There's a plant pod in Reno, Nevada. So I'm about 45, 50 minutes away from Reno, Nevada. And there's a plant pod there and it's fantastic. And the lady who runs it, Juliet Arnold, she is a delight. And I go to their meet and greets and potlucks and things. And we're having one on August the 16th. If anybody is in Reno, Nevada, they can come along and I'm going to be there with my book and we're going to make some yummy things. And I promise you, I will not bring my cookies. I'll bring something else.
That is so funny. Are there any vegan restaurants either of the two locations you live in, or healthy vegan restaurants?
Uh, yes, let me think. So, one of my favorite places to go in Reno is called Grateful Gardens. And it's not 100% plant-based, but it has a lot of plant-based things. And yeah, they use oil and salt, but you can ask them not to, so they can make things without that in them. Um, there was a place called Laughing Planet that I think is closing, but down South Lake, there is a fantastic place called Sprouts, and it's a whole food cafe. Again, they make some things with a bit of meat, but most of it is plant-based, and that's really lovely. They do awesome smoothies and bowls, and all their soups are always vegan. So I love Sprouts in South Lake. Two of my favorite restaurants in the world are in Sacramento, actually, which is a bit of a drive for me, a little bit of a drive from you. I love Vegan Deadly Sins, which is a Asian vegan restaurant in Sacramento, and I love Veg too, which is fantastic. But Veg is not um, it's not SOS free at all. Yeah, so it would be a special occasion once in a while thing to go to. And my husband really likes. There's a Thai restaurant in Sacramento. I know I'm talking about Sacramento now, aren't I? There's a Thai restaurant there, and there's a Thai restaurant here in Incline Village too, which is awesome. They'll do vegan food for me as well. So I love going to just regular restaurants and just asking them if they can make me something that's vegan. There's a Italian restaurant in the Hyatt here, and the chef is delightful, and he'll come to the table and talk to you, and he'll always make me something vegan and SOS free. So it's just great.
And I'm not familiar with the restaurants you mentioned in Sacramento.
Really? Wow. Yeah, they're great. We go down to Sacramento often because we like the food. We have two little baby dogs, and they really like the park at the Capitol. And we just love them. They run around and chase the squirrels and things. So we go to Sacramento for like the weekend just for fun.
Wow.
And we go to those restaurants. Yeah.
I have not seen the Capitol yet, but my favorite, it's not a vegan restaurant, but my favorite place to eat is Auburn Bodega. And I've showed that sandwich on the show before, and I've done a copycat version in my Chef AJ and Friends community. So if you want to learn how to do that, please join. Have you been to Auburn Bodega?
Yes, because you were on, I think you did a live once, and you said, I just come back from Auburn Bodega, and I bought this sandwich, and I think you bought the
The
deconstructed
tuna,
version
right? And well, yeah,
because
because this
they
is
didn't have the
I,
bread, right?
I have been begging him to get bread that's both vegan and gluten free. I have been begging him. Maybe one day he will. But my husband has a new favorite sandwich there since that video. It was the sunflower nut tuna sandwich, but now it's the canyon. So they have four. Well, they probably have more, but they have four really solid, good vegan sandwiches there. And if you don't do bread, one of them is raw. They can do it on a coconut wrap, but it's just so delicious.
It's a dangerous shop because you go in there, thinking you're going to spend $10 on a sandwich, and you end up spending $200 on all the other yummy things that they have there. Because they've got the supermarket type thing, and then they've got fresh bread that is divine, and they've got those, you told me about them, those beautiful cheese saucy things, which are so delicious and a little bit too rich because I think they're made out of cashew nuts. But lots of yummy food at that Auburn Bodega, and I will thank you very much for telling me about that because that's a pit stop on the way home now.
Yeah, I love that place. It's only open till 6, but if you ever come to this area, please go see Travis and tell him Chef AJ sent you. And he told everybody the recipe for his cheese sauce. The thing is, he doesn't make it in one batch. He's making these huge vats, and he just says, "Here's the ingredients. You just put them in." And we've tried. Sometimes it's really spicy though. Like yesterday we had it, and it was really spicy.
Yeah. What does he say? Put like 4 kilos of cashews in or something, and you're like, what?
Well, no, I mean I mean it says on the label it's actually raw. It's cashews, red bell pepper, lemon juice, nutritional yeast, jalapeno, and I think that's it. And
Right.
it's so good. I think it's based on a recipe from the Cafe Gratitude's cheese sauce. But I mean, everybody has a cheese sauce recipe, but this is his is the best I've had. And even my copycat version isn't quite as good as his. I don't know what he does to it. But if you're watching Travis yesterday, it was a little spicy. Maybe he doesn't seed his jalapenos. Who knows?
Yeah, I really like Dustin Harder. Dustin Harder's he used to work for Universal Meals at PCRM. Now he's doing his own thing. He has a beautiful, fantastic book called Epic Vegan, and his cheese sauce is phenomenal. He puts sauerkraut juice in it.
Oh, wait a minute. Tell me about this. And do you have the book? Because I thought
Yeah,
I
yeah, I do. Okay, I think it's in this one. Epic Vegan, quick and easy. It might be in the other Epic Vegan. I've got the other Epic Vegan at my other house, but the cheese sauce. is phenomenal.
Oh,
So
tell me about it because I believe I do have that book, but maybe I did not catch that recipe.
yeah, let me have a quick look
And
and
I
see if
always
I
have
can find
sauerkraut in
it.
my house. I love sauerkraut. It does have a little
Cheese,
salt.
vegan, cheese crumble, punk cheese sauce. Oh no, that's chili. Oh, maybe. Oh, let's see. 107. Let me see if this is it. It might. I love promoting other people because I think we're all on the same planet. We're all on the same plane. We're all trying to promote health and we're all trying to make people healthier and make the world a better place. And in my book, I have promoted as many of my heroes, including you, my darling, as I can, so that people, if they read my book and they've never heard of Dustin Harder or they've never heard of you, or although that's hard to fathom, or they've never heard of Dr. Nitu Bajekal, for example, I want them to be able to find those resources really, really quickly. So I'm not finding this cheese sauce at all. I do not know why
All right. Well, let me
I
know.
can't
Just,
find
just
it.
personally let me know because I believe I have the book and I will look as soon as.
Yeah.
So Elle's posted. I use I see Terry has some strategies on how to overcome food cravings and bad habits. The book looks great. Maybe you could give us a little hint on that because people are sometimes struggling with that.
Yes. So the thing about, and I think this is true, for any kind of change, is you have to take yourself away from the hazardous environment. So if you have a kitchen full of animal products, Oreos, fried foods, pizzas, all the things that have led you to the health problems that you have now, you really need to clean your environment out. And so, by taking those things out of your kitchen and out of your environment, you're going to be in a much better place. And replacing those things, obviously, with healthy alternatives. Whenever you want to make something, when you only have whole foods to choose from, you're going to make whole foods. So there's another strategy too for people who perhaps maybe go through the drive-through, because the drive-through is on the way home and they're tired after work, or they've got kids screaming in the car, or whatever it is, and they go past, I'm not going to mention brand names because I don't like any of them, they go past fast food joint A and they just drive through without thinking. In order to stop that habit, you really need to start driving down different roads. I know that sounds weird, but if from A to B to your house, you go past 5 fast food joints and you're going to stop in and eat at one of them without fail, choose a different route. And if you don't see that fast food place, you're not going to jump in there and do it. The other thing is, we mentioned before, the prepping of the veggies. Uh, look, if I think, AJ, people have different ways that they like to operate. I know people who need everything written down. So, okay, I'm going to write down what I'm going to have for breakfast. I'm going to write down what I had for lunch, and I'm going to write down what I'm going to have for dinner. And then all I do is follow the plan. And then that works, that works for me. Other people, they want to be a little bit more mellow, a little bit more freestyle. So I think maybe the chopped up veggies in the fridge is a great idea. The other thing is that when you transition from a unhealthy lifestyle to a more healthy plant-based lifestyle, it may seem like an insurmountable mountain that you have to climb. And I'll just give you a little story. When I wanted to run my first marathon, the first thought that came into my mind was, there's no way. I just can't do that. That's like, I can barely run a mile and a half or whatever it was. I don't know how far I could run. I'm never going to be able to run 26 miles. But what I did is I found a coach, I found a plan, and I put that plan on my fridge, which is over there. And it was a daily plan. Wake up in the morning. Today, run 5 miles. Okay, I'll do that. Tomorrow, do some stretching. Okay, I'll do that. Next day, run 6 miles. Because the plan was there and I knew that the marathon was on a certain date, I could not cheat. There was just no opportunity for me to cheat, because if I cheated, I wouldn't be ready for the marathon. And not only would I not get the time I wanted, I probably wouldn't be ready to finish the whole thing. So I think when you're changing your lifestyle, don't think that today I'm going to be the person that I am with health problems and I'm eating unhealthily and I don't know where to go. And tomorrow I'm going to be Chef AJ. It's just not going to happen. It takes a while. It takes steps, and you really need to just take one step at a time. So if I can share, if you don't mind, I'm going to share my 3 tips for people to transition. So the first one is start where you are. Work out what it is that you like that's already plant-based. And in the book, I've got, I don't know, you can see, I've got lists of plant-based foods. There's there's like 200 foods in there. And they're all the fruit, the vegetables, the whole grains, the legumes, and the condiments. And I left out the herbs and spices, nuts and seeds, because you can put your own herbs and spices on. And if somebody's really overweight and they want to lose weight, they probably want to go easy on the nuts and seeds anyway. And so just get a highlighter and highlight those foods that you like. And even though if I asked you face to face, what plant-based foods do you like? They'd go, none. I don't like anything. Well, I'd say, well, do you like bananas? Oh, yeah, I like bananas. Okay, highlight that. Or do you like tomatoes? Oh, yeah, I like tomatoes. I'll highlight that. And then you'll find that you probably have about 15 or 20 plant-based foods that you actually like. So just start eating more of those. So that's the first one. Work out the plant-based foods that you like and start eating more of those. And then the second one is take the recipes that you already eat. And most people, look, I don't know about you, AJ, but most people are quite habitual about what they eat. So they might probably eat like 5 or 10 recipes on repeat. And that's the same with me and other people that I know. They have their favorites. So take those recipes and then do a little bit of research, either in my book or somewhere else, maybe pick up AJ's recipe books or whatever, and work out what you can swap in that recipe from the unhealthy ingredients to the healthy ingredients. So, for example, let's say you were making this noodle bowl, but you were making it unhealthy. You might put oil in, so ditch the oil. You might put salt, so ditch the salt. You might put chicken breast, ditch the chicken breast and swap it out for your tofu. So just swap out the unhealthy things for the healthy things. And then what's going to happen is you're going to gain confidence. So when you're confident, that's when you go back to the book and you look at all the things in the list that you did not highlight and you go, oh, tempeh, what's that? I might try that. And don't go crazy. Don't go down to the Asian grocer and buy 30 different weird and wonderful green vegetables, because they're just going to go moldy in your fridge. Pick one thing and try it out. And don't be discouraged if you don't like that thing. Try it out and then try it cooked a different way. So I know some people that hate Brussels sprouts because the only time they ever ate Brussels sprouts was they boiled them to death and they turned into this kind of soggy mess that gave them gas, right? So, and I know, AJ, you've done Brussels sprouts in the air fryer, and other people have got great recipes, like the people at Well Your World have great recipes where they can make a vegetable or a legume or whatever it is that you don't particularly like in a way by using condiments and spices and herbs and things like garlic and chili and whatnot to make that thing delicious. And then you're going to expand your repertoire. So then all of a sudden you're really confident and you're eating healthy plant-based foods. So I hope that helped.
Absolutely. And I just want to say there's a comment from, where did it go? From Danny. My kitchen is full of all those things. I cannot force my family to adopt my lifestyle. I actually cannot clean my environment. I believe in individual choice. How would you respond to that? I said to just ask them to keep their food separate.
Yeah, absolutely. And you do you, Danny. Like if you can continue and not be tempted by the unhealthy food, then it doesn't matter. You can't force anybody to do anything. And if you can make your own healthy choices and do make your own meals with that stuff in the house, then good for you. I think that's awesome. But if you can't, and it's too difficult for you, I think your health is so important that you need to have conversations with people and say, look, those chicken nuggets, they talk to me every time I open the freezer. Is it okay? Can you put them behind the vegetables so that when you want your chicken nuggets, you can bring them out. But if I open the freezer, I'm only going to see veggies and it's not going to tempt me to have them. So, look, conversations like that are difficult and they're individual to each person. And my advice is try not to make a big thing out of it. Try to get them on your side is, look, I really need your help. I'm struggling. I need to find a way so that I can make healthy choices. Can you help me out by sticking your Oreos in a container that's not see-through or something like that? And look, I don't know what everybody's relationship is like with their family, but that's the way I would handle it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on this beautiful new book. Below in the show notes is where you can get it and where people can follow you on social media. Where do you hang out the most?
Instagram and YouTube. So I'm trying to build my YouTube channel. If anybody wants to come and subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's Fabulous Health TLC. It's in the show notes, and I'd love to have you on board. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I wish the people watching on Instagram would please subscribe to my YouTube channel because I'm this close to getting to 250,000. It would help me fulfill a dream. Well, it was so nice
Yeah.
meeting you, Terry, last week in person, and again, getting to know you better on the show. And I hope we see each other again.
Thank you so much for having me, and helping me, AJ. I really appreciate it.
You are so welcome, and I'll remember to put some oregano on my food. That's a new pronunciation. I love it. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ and Friends. Please come back Tuesday at 11 a.m. Pacific time for Straight Talk with Dr. Doug Lisle, where he answers your questions. And if you're interested in attending the Vegas conference, close to 500 people are registered, and the price goes up next week. Take care, everybody. Bye bye.